Hey everybody, first of all, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for always taking an hour of your day every Tuesday to listen to our podcast and every Thursday to listen to our little clips. It means a lot. This one is long overdue, right? We recorded this. It was one of the first podcasts actually I did. I don't remember exactly when, but it was a while ago. And it's been on the backlog because we had a few audio issues with it. So we took it down to fix that all up. And now it's been cleaned up, finally. So it's working. Right. So to cut to the chase, this podcast is all about Deeps Dhiman and his brother Lakshay, who's in the next episode, episode 2. Deeps is a co-founder along with his brother of ThatTime Co., which is essentially, number one, they have clothes. They have really nice clothes, which is a crazy quality. And we spoke all about GSM and all different quality control metrics and everything like that in this podcast, as well as shipping, manufacturing, and operations, because they also do manufacturing consulting. So I really do recommend you stream this podcast. Obviously, a lot has changed because it was a while ago. I believe it was in 2021 that we recorded this, right? So it was a while ago. So please keep that in mind when you listen to this podcast. And if you enjoy it, please comment, because these comments really boost up engagement. Like, if you're feeling really generous, subscribe. If you're feeling even more generous, on Spotify, you can leave us a 5-star review or however many stars you think this podcast deserves, and the quality will consistently get better. That is the plan. The plan is to make sure that every time a post goes out, the quality gets better and better and better. We're building a team around this podcast now and making it a more permanent thing. And I really do appreciate the fact that you are sticking around. So once again, my name's Tom Barclay. This is the Flightpath Podcast, and buckle up. I hope you enjoy. Hey, Deep, welcome to the Flightpath, my friend. How you doing?
Thanks, Tom.
No worries.
Pleasure to be here with you.
Fantastic. So let's get straight to the point. Tell me what you're doing, how you doing.
Great. Yeah. So we started this journey. Actually, maybe backtrack a little bit. This is something that has sort of stuck, and the business is going well. But before this, there were a few sort of failed attempts, as you might say.
Right.
So I just want to highlight on that, because some people might be, thinking, looking at us like we're doing well. We launched the brand maybe 12 months ago, and then now things are going well. But it's a long time to get to this point, right? So started this journey with my brother about 18 months ago. We traveled to Europe. We're going to different places, traveling, having a good time. Came back, looking at photos, looking at memories. And my brother at the time, he was studying at White House.
Right.
Design at university, right?
I thought you meant the actual White House for a second.
Yeah, that would be, he was working with Trump.
No, of course, yeah.
So yeah, he wanted to launch a clothing brand.
Right.
So we were looking through some photos, videos. We're talking, remember that time we went to that bar? Remember that time we did that? Remember that time in Spain? So we just came up with the name. We just said, let's call the clothing brand ThatTime.
Right.
So yeah, that's how we started. It took a while to get used to the supplier, the supply chain, and 18 months down the track, we're here now.
Well, I'm lucky enough to have just been given a shirt, and I can tell you that the design process you've taken, the process you've taken to choose the suppliers has definitely paid off, because I hate to admit it, your shirt is nicer than mine. But yeah, cool, man. It's good to hear. It's good to hear that you kind of explained, how it started and everything like that.
Yeah.
I'd like to know, the first question I always use to start these off is, you've probably heard it, if you had a shiny red button right on your desk that said reset, right? You could reset it to the point where you haven't started just that time, and you know nothing of this, and you just want to start again, but go on a different path. Would you press it?
Oh, look, it's a tough question.
It is a tough question.
I might have to ponder on it for a little while, but
Exactly.
to be honest, I don't think I would like to press that reset button, because without the mistakes we've made, my business partner and my brother, I'm so lucky to be working with someone who is in the family, and we've grown up together, and we've been so close together since the start. So I don't think I would like to press that button.
That's cool. That's relieving to feel, isn't it? Yeah. Crazy, man. Crazy. Yeah. You're like, we might as well tell them how we met, because that'd be cool. So we met at a networking event, which was awesome. And then from there we kind of just evolved, like little advice here and there both ways. And, I've grown from what you've taught me, and you've grown from what I've taught you, hopefully.
No, definitely.
And like I could tell you that there's a few people in this world that I connect with that I know work extremely hard. And you and Lucky are definitely two of those people.
Appreciate it.
And like,
we actually look up to your work ethic. I don't know how you
squeeze.
I don't know how you squeeze in music, videography.
You want to know the secret?
Yeah, tell us.
I'm a clone. But yeah, no, man, it's really cool to see. It's motivating, and if you don't mind me asking, I know the answer, but I want them to know. How old are you?
I'm 30.
30.
Believe it or not, yeah.
Look, I want to know what's in your water, bro. Because like I'm 21 and I'm still like, you know. But yeah, man, that's cool to hear. So let's get more to the nitty gritty. The imposter syndrome, you've heard of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are there times where you feel like what you're doing, you know, for example, with the brand or flying across, traveling, stuff like that, being able to, it's something as small as not having to catch the bus every morning,
Mm-hmm.
you know, do you feel like you shouldn't be here sometimes?
Yeah, look, great question actually, and it's taken me a long time to get sort of over that because I migrated to Sydney with my parents and my brother, right, when I was 14. So
Wow.
straight to high school, straight to I couldn't complain. It was a really nice area. So moved to Northern Beaches.
Or was English your first language?
No. So I didn't speak English as at all actually at that time. So yeah, I moved into that area where there were not many other Indian people there, right? Or any other, mostly just Caucasians. So I found it really hard, to be honest, to fit in. And first couple of years settling in, it's definitely that imposter syndrome. Where I didn't feel, I belonged here. I couldn't speak the language properly. I was getting bullied in school. So the only way I could sort of figure out that at that time, like how to sort of keep my value or keep my sort of existence going was just work hard. Work hard at school, pick up skills, play sport.
And you say that transmitted into your life now?
I would definitely say that. So that's been a huge part in helping me grow, like to, whatever 2 cents I'm at right now. So
that experience you had back then, you would say it was beneficial to who you are now?
It was, yeah, definitely. And if you ask me if I would change anything, I would not change.
So going across from that and taking that point into account, if someone was in the position that you were all those years ago, right, when you were getting on, when you would immigrate over and everything like that, and someone was in your exact position where they're like, I want to give up. Knowing what you know now about that kind of experience, what would you say to that 14-year-old, 13-year-old kid?
Yeah, look, that's a really good question. What I would say is find your value within. Don't look at, external factors. Don't look at, nice sort of cars, clothing, materialistic things, because they are very temporary. They won't give you that sort of internal self-confidence that you need to succeed in life, business. Definitely work on yourself. If you're 14, 15, all you should be doing is playing sport, extending your knowledge. It's counterintuitive, but get off TikTok, get off Instagram.
Thank you.
The more time you spend on those things, like they are made for, those quick dopamine hits.
Exactly.
So work on yourself, go to old school, go to the gym, play sport, go out, kick a ball, network, speak to people, smile when you're on the street. You'd be surprised how many people smile back.
Yeah.
And say hello.
And then everyone complains, like especially at the uni, everyone's complaining like, oh, no one looks at me, no one talks to me.
Right.
Like I actually did like this. It was, I don't know if it was a dumb decision yet, but at uni they were doing this open mic night and I did like a motivational talk and I was saying like, get off your phone, look at people, talk to people, stuff like that. And then everyone like afterwards would text me and stuff, be like, oh, I tried that, but no one looks back. I'm like, well, how many times have you tried that?
Exactly.
And and going back to the uni point, because I still studied in Macquarie, every time I go there, every single person, I'm not joking, every single person I've seen
on their phone.
Yeah, and just walking. And
it's painful to see, to be honest, because there's a line by Kendrick, right? In this song. I love Kendrick.
Yeah.
How many times potential was anonymous? So how many times was potential anonymous? So everyone has potential.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes
but
sense.
how many times is it anonymous? Like no one knows.
It's not shown.
Exactly.
Like this guy, I was talking to this guy, I'm not going to reveal his name. If you're watching, you know who you are. He wanted to work for Bhimian 2 nights ago. I was talking to him. And I said, and he wanted to be a chef, right? And I was like, if I was in my position where I was asking someone for a job, but I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't feel like I could do it, I would feel terrible as a man if I told him to, okay, work for me, become a salesperson, right? Yeah, make some money, cool. But don't focus on your passion. So this guy, I'm now in the process of getting him jobs as like a head chef try and get clients and stuff like that. But the funny thing is, a lot of people in that position would be like, no, I just want the money. But then you forget, like, money, you know, I'm not going to go too much. I'm not a financial advisor, just like, you know, but like, we completely surround our whole ideology around this cash, which isn't linked to anything, which people forget. And people don't go out and become musicians, become chefs, become designers, become clothing brand owners, stuff like that. And I would like to know, like, you know, growing up from wherever you grew up to where you are now, I imagine a lot of people were telling you what to do, where to do it, how to do it. So how did you break out of that and start ThatTime?
I mean, great question. Yeah, it's a vicious cycle you have to get out of. And I think lots I do attribute to my upbringing, my parents. They've always been open-minded. They've always been sort of supporting parents where they've let my brother and I try whatever, you know, we wanted. And just by trying, just failing, getting used to the rejections, it's just that taking that tough path is just sort of ingrained that part in my mind, I guess.
Right.
So I don't see it as like a tough path. I just see it my path, you know. So this is the way I'm going. So it doesn't matter whatever comes in the way. Like that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm going to do.
Well, mate, the fact that you even said path, you know, you already said like that time this, that time that. So I've got to take a page out of your book and say this podcast is called The Flight Path. So, you know, the whole trip, you know, the whole trip to the destination, wherever you're going, no matter how short it is always going to be bumpy.
Right.
There's always going to be a bumpy part in that path. No matter if you're traveling to, in my case, Melbourne, or you're traveling to, like, I don't know, like Indonesia. Every time there's always going to be at one point it's going to be a bump. So hence why the name's The Flight Path. Hence why we interview people who have been through those bumps.
Definitely.
So before getting super deep, keep going.
Yeah, I love the philosophy side of things. So Bruce Lee, another line, he says, "Don't pray for an easy life, pray for strength to live a difficult one." So, you know,
that's deep.
Because easy life is, I mean, easy is you can be on the couch, just going through Instagram. What are you going to gain out of it? You're going to look at pictures of people, if you're into gym, who are fitter than you, who look better than you. You're going to feel worse about yourself. And then you're not even going to take any action. You're not going to even go for a walk. Because you're like, what's the point? I'm never going to look like that.
Because people forget that, like, social media, and not just the app itself, but the actual content is all designed for the creator's purpose. It's not like people go, like, even me, man, like, I'm sure you as well, would go on TikTok or Instagram and be like business ideas, income stream ideas, and just swipe through. And like, that's honestly how I got into agencies. And then it changed, and I realized, cracked the code of how to actually get clients and stuff like that. But every piece of advice online, 90% of it is designed to sell something that they're already developing.
100%. And by the way, thanks for helping us out as well when we sort of were struggling.
That's okay.
If anyone's looking for marketing, Bhimian Tom, he knows his stuff. Nice. But 100%. Yeah, that's you gotta look through your interests. I love the idea of creating, but the more you consume other people's ideas, the more you're programming yourself not to create and just consume. If that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. It makes a lot of sense. Doesn't make dollars, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, Okay, back in action. Now I have a few questions regarding, you know, actually getting into the business, because obviously it's quite hard. So number one, the most important part of the day is waking up. So when do you wake up?
6 a.m. for the last 12 months or so.
Right. Yeah. Breakfast or no breakfast?
No.
You know what? No. Go through your whole routine. When you wake up, what happens?
Oh, yeah. Look, I've actually got it from a few books, right? So 5 a.m. Club is one of my favorites. Recently, I read really, really great book if you're looking to sort of maximize your mornings. So, I mean, I don't wake up at 5, but I wake up at 6. So that works for me. 6 a.m., wake up and drink hot water.
Hot water?
Hot water, just to flush out all the toxins.
Right, okay.
And, you know, do my whatever I need to do, and then sit down for meditation, 10 minutes. And that's been part of my routine since COVID.
Right.
It helped me a lot during, you know, the distressed times, and it's become part of my routine. And if I don't do it, I feel like I haven't lived.
Yeah.
So that's done, and then I do stretching.
Cool.
So, you know, try and keep sort of flexible. And from there on, something to eat, a couple of bananas, orange juice, go to the gym 5 days a week.
So your morning workout club as well?
Morning workout.
Does it make you tired?
No, so look, I used to think that. I used to go gym after work, and since I started going in the morning, I actually have more energy.
Oh,
So yeah, it's been working really well. So I go in the morning, hit the gym, and then just start my day.
cool. All right. Well, discipline is really important.
Yeah.
And the reason I asked that is because, as we were talking before, discipline is extremely important. And people think you can just wake up disciplined. But even me, man, like I can't wake up at that time.
Right.
And I'm motivated as shit.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
But like, so, now that you've heard Deep's routine, and I'll tell you mine really quick. It's about the same. I wake up around the same time. I have a lot of trouble waking up in the morning, right? Like early, a lot of trouble, right? Because I'm busy, conquering the world at night. No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. But so what I do is I have like 4 alarms. Right?
Okay.
So I have a mat that you have to stand on to turn it off. I think it's called the ruggy. And then I have my Google Home, which like flushes orange light into my face. And then I have like a wristband that vibrates to wake me up. And then I have my iPhone alarm, and I still don't wake up, man. So
it's like waking you up from the dead.
It's terrible. You might as well be. But yeah, and you know what? Sometimes, honestly, I sleep through it. To be honest with you.
Look.
But like as long as you find that good mix, like I work like a beast at night. Like I can work until 6 in the morning, easy.
Right.
But like as long as you find that
what works for you, or you think you're gonna find a balance. Like not every sort of routine's gonna work for everyone.
Yeah.
As you said, that works for you. You get most out of it.
Yeah.
Why not?
So hence why these YouTube videos, and I'm sure you're a victim of watching those routine videos on YouTube, like Ali Abdaal, Matt D'Avella, stuff like that.
Right.
Thomas Frank, Ryan Serhant, which is really good for those kind of things. You
Real
watch
estate
them,
king.
exactly, and you watch them and you think like, okay, I'll just copy it.
Yeah.
It is so much harder than you think.
Exactly.
So,
and you got to see how long it's taken them to get to that routine. They've been in the business for 10, 15 years, and only recently they've started doing these routines, right? So they've compounded over time. If you try and do what someone's done, say you want to start boxing,
sure,
and you want to box in a fight, and you want to box someone who's been fighting for 10 years, you can follow their routine, but it probably will take you 10 years to get to where they are.
Yeah, most people give up right when it starts working, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, no. Again, the reason I asked that is because I want to know like how you made that jump from where you were before to where you are now. So let's go more into the business side of things.
Right. Sure.
That time, I want to know like how did you actually? No, and we know how you got the name. I want to know how you actually like. Okay, so let's go through a hypothetical. You have the name, right? You've come up with it. You're with Lucky. You've come up with the name.
Yeah.
You come up with what you want to do, why you want to do it, the slogan, the brand, the logo, whatever it is. Now you're at the point where you actually have to get the suppliers.
Yes.
How the heck did you do that?
Great question. And for those of you out there who are looking to launch their own brand as well, so this might add value. There was a long process to get to where we even started launching. So luckily enough, I had my brother on my side, and he did design at university. He worked in retail, so he knew all the channels, how to find suppliers, how to do design, how to come up with pricing strategies. So he had done all the heavy lifting and planning for the brand, right? And where I come in, I've got a sales background, marketing. That's what customer acquisition. That's what I'm good at. So we just joined forces, and we said, look, you look after that, I'll look after that, and let's just go all in and see what we can do, right? So
okay, back in action for like the third time. Cool. So let's get back to that conversation. So disregarding what we spoke about before, what I want to talk about is how exactly you sourced the actual material. So what was so not the design, not the logo, not everything like that, and the marketing sales, the actual physical product. How did you source
product? Yeah, great question. So I think my brother, he's an expert in that, right? So he studied design, he knows the fabrics, he knows what to look for. He actually spent 8 to 10 months sourcing from different suppliers, making sure we got the quality that we were looking for. So he went through 5 or 6 different suppliers.
And was he individually going to each one or getting it sent over?
Getting it sent over. Yeah. So initially we did lose a little bit of money, to be honest.
Of course.
With a couple of suppliers. So bringing it from China, bringing it from, like Taiwan. So just trying to, when you start a business, right? For us, we were just trying to get like the best quality, but also get the best price. Right. And it was really difficult to communicate when we went to China. And we brainstormed and we said, India, why not India? Because we come from India, we speak the language, and the quality of cotton in India is the best in the world. Yeah. So we looked into some options. That's where, we had that aha moment, and we contacted these suppliers, got stuff sent over. The quality was amazing. And yeah, that was the sourcing journey, 8 to 10 months.
Crazy.
And once we got to that, we were wearing our stuff out, and other clothing brands or owners are asking us where we're getting our stuff. So after launching the brand 10 months in, we actually launched another side of the business, helping other brands source.
Consulting.
Yeah. So it's just how business evolves, and you don't know where the business is going to take you if you go all in,
Exactly. And if you don't mind me asking, how... Obviously, you didn't find the suppliers off AliExpress, I'd imagine. So
initially, yes.
I did.
Initially, yes. And from there on, we got some contacts. And then from there on, like eBay and trying different avenues.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's how we started, actually.
Beautiful. Yeah, because people think, even me, before because I also attempted a clothing brand, but I did it before Bhimian, when I was like, in order to grow a business, you just need to put all your money into it,
right?
Instead of speed, which is the most important thing now.
Right.
Might actually launch it again. But when I was doing that, I looked for the hardest part was finding the supplier, and now with the knowledge I have, I realize how easy it actually is. Right, you can go on websites like Import Yeti, for example, and see your favorite brands and see their suppliers, and actually get the same quality of clothing as any high-end brand directly from a supplier for cost price, and it's brilliant.
Right.
But so it's cool to see that it may take 8 to 10 months, but now the suppliers you have now, I'd imagine you've been working them for a long ass time now.
For a long ass time, we rely on them, we trust them.
Yeah.
We do other clothing for other brands with them as well. So we would, if we are putting our name and neck on the line, so to say, we won't work with just anyone. We have tried, we have tested. Main thing is also shipping. So when you are working in a clothing industry, shipping is the main challenge. So you'll talk to a supplier, you give them a brief, you give them designs. It'll take them about 4 weeks to create the product, and then probably another 4 weeks to ship to you. But with our relationships, the suppliers we've got, we can actually get from inception to product to delivery in 2 weeks. So we've been able to cut down that time, which has been really helpful.
Amazing, man. That kind of conversation about the business end of it always, it's always the most exciting part of business to me, but a lot of people don't enjoy it. And I'd imagine, do you enjoy that part? Really?
I actually do, yeah.
Do?
So,
Yeah.
I mean, for some reason, my brain works in a way where I always see business opportunities. So if I'm talking to you, right, and we'd be talking about ice cream,
Right.
my brain would work in a way where I'll be thinking, we could probably launch an ice cream brand and get ingredients from here and here and here and pack it here. That's how my mind works.
It's good, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have that. Do you think you can train that, or do you think you're born with that?
Great question. I think your environment and what you input in your mind consciously is a big thing. I don't think you're born with it, I'll be honest. Talent, yes, you're born with talent, but if you put in the time, if you put in the dedication to learn a skill and go all in for, say, 6 months, you will see the results.
So hard work always conquers all.
Hard work
Greater than talent, would you say?
Oh, tough one. I mean, people might have natural talent and they not work hard enough. But if you work consistently, it compounds. I think if you give it 6 months, hard work will overcome talent.
Hear that? Well, you getting me inspired as well, man.
All
right.
Appreciate it.
Very, 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 very interesting. So now I was talking about the manufacturing, the actual supply chain. We can even talk about quality assurance in a second, but before we get to that, I want to talk about partnering. Now, working in, for example, what I do in influencer marketing especially, it's quite difficult if you don't work with an agency. So I have to know, how are you getting those influencers? Are you just cold outreaching by messaging them in DMs, or?
Yeah, look, a mix of lot of things, right? So, I mean, initially you should look at your existing network, and a lot of people are shy to just reach out to their friend who might be a DJ or who might be a dancer, who might be a musician, right? So just reach out to your friend. What's the worst that could happen? They would say, "Oh, sorry, I can't." But from that, they might say, "Oh, actually, no, Tom. He's a musician. He's got this many listeners on Spotify. Maybe hit him up." So what's the worst that can happen? You just creating opportunities out of that. So initially, I reached out to one of my friends who I know is a resident DJ at Candy Club here in Sydney, and we met. I still remember we met at like.
Might as well shout him out.
Shout out to DJ Cuz, the king of DJs in Sydney.
Yeah.
He's actually one of the realest DJs I know in Sydney. I mean, live stuff he does is insane. So I reached out to him. I said, his name's Arnold. So I said, Arnold, let's catch up. It's been a long time. I want to talk to you about this idea, this jacket, right? And he's like, yeah, bro, let's catch up. So we catch up at Argyle, sitting down there. I gave him the jacket. Actually, it was this one here. So we caught up, and he wore the jacket, and he was like, he never wears anything except black, right? Yeah. His color's black. Like he just loves black fabric. And he wore it, and he was like, man, this is cool. And I was like, guess what? It's like, I want to give it to you as a present. And would you mind doing like shout outs for us? You know, when you're doing your own DJ gigs, like, do you mind wearing it outside? He's like, yeah, sure, bro. Like, yeah, I would love that. And I think in business and life, if you're being genuine to people, they would respond the same way, right? If you have no hidden agenda, people respond that way to you. So, and I said, look, initially, you know, we are sort of short on cash. We don't have much in terms of cash to give you.
So honesty is really important for you.
Honesty in business is very important, I would say, and in life. So he said, look, no problems. And he started promoting it. So that was our first influencer deal.
Yeah, and now it's paying dividends because I see this guy all over my feed always, and it's so, man, that he did this song. It was when I say that, you say time, that time. It's so catchy, man. It's stuck in my head. But that's cool, man. So is Acuz the only like influencer you're working with, or are you trying to expand?
No, so we got a few now. So our brand is basically about creating memories. So every time you think that time or memories, we want you to think that time. So we collaborating with musicians.
Shout them out if you know them off your head. Shout them out.
A few things in the works.
Pressure's on. Do you remember that?
A few things in the works. You know, there's obviously with the paperwork and stuff. So So let's hold that for now. But
of course,
musicians, DJs. We even sponsored a rising cricket star who I can shout out. Abhinav is up and coming in India, where the region we grew up in. So my brother Abhinav and myself, we grew up in that area in India,
right.
And he's a rising cricket star. He's a great talent, and no doubt he's gonna do big things. So giving back to community from the start has been part of the brand as well.
Yeah.
So we always try and incorporate giving back into influencer deal if we can. So if it's a rising star we can see potential in, we will invest in them rather than someone who's established, because the value of our brand is to promote the community. Right?
Yeah.
So same thing with rising musicians. Shout out to Brownie, my cousin who's a rapper as well. Great talent. So doing deals with him. So just finding where it can mutually benefit us, but also how we can give back to community is the main foundation of our influencer.
It's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah.
And the reason I respect you so much, man, and Lucky as well, is because, as you said, like, being genuine and being honest is so important, right? And a lot of people, I work with a lot of e-commerce brands as well, not so many like fashion, like not as anymore, I don't really do that anymore, and the reason is because a lot of them are designers trying to be arrogant, trying to be rude, and realistically I've worked with two who I actually enjoyed working with, and you're one of them. And the reason is because these people, these designers, right, who have the biggest tall poppy syndrome and biggest egos, are designing these products, bags, whatever it is, stuff like that, hats I had as well, fedoras as well, which is weird. They have this obsession with looking so much bigger than they are, being bigger, lying, stuff like that. And then one of them, I'm not going to reveal the name, they're in California, they had this ambassador deal, right? And they would basically message like 1,000 people and say like, hey, if you want, to work with us, blah, blah, blah. And then obviously this kid, or whoever it was they're reaching out to, would be like, of course, yeah, I'd love to. And then they would make them pay shipping and make them pay for the product and everything. And they'd be like, oh, but you get 5%, And on an affiliate deal, it should be 20, 30%.
Right.
So the fact that you're not doing that kind of thing and the fact that you're being honest and genuine and reaching out personally is super unique. And hence why I think ThatTime is really going to go far, if it isn't already, which it is.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Like, so we've covered the manufacturing part, we've covered the supply chain, we've covered the various ways you're marketing. I won't go into it because obviously you need competitive advantage, but
slightly,
yes, you know what I mean. But the important thing I want to go through is when business gets tough, right? So obviously tough is subjective. So tough, obviously being extremely tough would be the pandemic. I would imagine we'll go into that later. But the thing that I would say is also tough that people forget about is when you expand so much and you need to make new hires.
Right.
So I'm not sure if you're hiring already, but when you get in the process of hiring, what's going to be your process?
No, it's a great question. And I think you have to look at all different options, right? Running a business is a challenge and a blessing at the same time. You learn new lessons every day, but also there's challenges where you get stuck for a while and you think, oh, am I doing the right thing? Is this for me? How far are we going to go with this? But I think you gotta look back and see why you started, right? So for us, why did we start? We're two brothers. We work in the same business. We want to grow this thing together. That's our main reason, right? And coming from an Indian background, coming from immigration, like as an immigrant family, we just want to be an inspiration to other immigrant kids or anyone with a dream, right? So we just look back on those things, and when things get tough, you just look on those reasons and see it's actually not that bad. Yeah. Like this is actually a privilege. Running a business
100%
in a city like Sydney, in a country like Australia, like there's literally nothing to complain about.
Exactly.
So
yeah, no, that's super motivating, man. And I can tell you, if I'm getting motivated, they're getting motivated. So yeah, okay. So now, before we wrap up, I want to talk about a few other things.
Sure.
Number one being the audience who are listening to this are business owners, previous clients, future clients, and younger people as well. Now, there's this guy. I'm not going to reveal his name. I met him on Discord, I think, and then we became close friends. He's like 15 and he's already trying to get into business. And he reached out and he's like, hey man, how do I get into drop shipping? Now, I feel like personally with business, there should be an age where you don't get into it. Because obviously it is cutthroat and a lot of people use you. Now, people here, this might go viral, this clip of me saying they shouldn't get into a business at a young age, but I don't think you should because a lot of people use you, right? But there's a difference between being used where you know about it and where you don't know about it. And the people who are using where you don't know about it tend to mess with you up here. So like there's been a few situations when I started doing better, for example, people in my circle had used me quite a bit, right? And I didn't see it coming and then it just hit me like a train.
Right.
So in your opinion, what's the age where someone should get into business? If they've been thinking about it all their life, when should they actually start doing it?
Yeah, look, that's a really hard question. That's a tough question.
Yeah.
And I think it depends on your circumstance and it depends on why you're doing it. If you're only doing it for the money, you can only go so far, right? Because you will realize no matter how much money you make, it's not going to fulfill that sort of purpose. So you have to have that reason why you're doing it, whether it be helping the community, helping, like putting your name out there and really helping your community like grow.
Yeah.
It could be, you want to make money because you want to help your family. Could be you want to make money because, you want to help poor people, like disadvantaged people. There's got to be bigger reason than yourself that will take you through those hard times.
So when you get to that point where you figure out your purpose, you think is the right time to go forward.
Correct. And that could be any age. That could be 15, that could be 16, that could be 17. And to your point, I think you probably can comment it more than what me, because I feel like you started at a very early age on that on that journey. So what would you say is, you've said that probably there's a certain age you want to get into. What age would that be?
Well, the funny thing is I'm not one to talk because I got in it young, right? I got in like 15, 14, same age. But when I did it, and the reason I suggest to people not to is because literally from that age, 14 and a half to 18, 19, I learned a lot, right? It's good, you learn a lot, but it was the hardest I've ever done. Like I almost pulled the family apart, like lost all my friends, got backstabbed because especially in school, I don't know anywhere else, but where I went to school, when you do well, when you start, even when I wasn't doing well, my grades suffered as a result, everything like that. And the funny thing is, I wasn't putting any less effort into school. You know, I was still studying like a maniac, but I was also working all night, all day. Like, so I would spend all my lunches, recesses and stuff in this specific room in the music center, working on my businesses and my music as well.
Right.
And the problem is, everybody in that school, teachers and parents included, in my specific situation were like, why aren't you working on school? Your grades are dropping. And I'm like, my grades aren't dropping because I'm not putting in the effort. My grades are dropping because this sucks and I don't get it. Right. But like, my advice to people getting into that world would be focus on school, because the things I learned in school, I carry through now. Even when we were studying like stupid, like there was a question in the HSC which was about like a mango, right? It made no sense. Right. But you know, all those situations in school where I was like, this makes no sense. This is a waste of time. Why am I studying it? I look back on now and I'm like, thank God I did, because it taught me how to write. It taught me how to think linguistically. It taught me how to deal with people at school who maybe are less than likable, right? And also taught me specifically, and I'm sure you as well, the number one lesson that I carry through today, how to deal with bullies, right?
It's a big one.
Yeah. So people go like, oh, don't go to uni. Oh, also don't go to school. I'm like, no, go to school and go to uni if you know what you want to do. If you know what you want to do in life and you need a degree to enable that, of course, go to uni. If you don't know what to do and you want to go study engineering or something, or you want to study something specifically like marine biology, but you don't know what you want to do, I would say don't go to uni. I would say study something bigger, broader, engineering, manufacturing, sales, stuff like that.
Right.
But a lot of people make that mistake of studying like, I don't even know what the brain surgery or whatever it's called. I don't know what the degree is called. Right. And then become like an accountant. You know what I mean?
I see that point. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You got to have the end goal in mind. And as you said, at a young age, you're still trying to figure out a lot of things.
Yeah.
Personally, even in my early 20s, I was trying to figure out a lot of things. So I think there is a certain age if you are trying to work at the end game. But starting young will give you those principles, those skills, as you said, right? So going to school, I think you did karate, combat sport, taekwondo, those kind of things. Like just trying things, see what you like, what you don't like. And if you like business at 15, you like business, but make sure you also growing as a person, right? Going to school, learning a new language, be just interacting, networking.
Okay, cool. So we're going to wrap up now. We ran out of time, unfortunately. Deep, it was a pleasure, my friend.
It was a pleasure.
100%.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely do this again when we have more time, when there's more sun. But until then, we'll wrap up.